I say tell everyone everything. Why cover anything up, right?
How to describe Frank?
1, 2, 3, 4!
Well, there's the head, of course.
He never takes it off. You think it's weird? Would it help if I said my facial expressions out loud? Welcoming smile.
Delighted look.
But what goes on inside the head inside that head
I find this inspiring.
is music.
Something is pressing, something is!
Frank, people should know about you. You should be famous.
Flattered grin, followed by a bashful half smile.
Stop saying your facial expressions out loud. It's extremely annoying.
Welcome to Kermode Uncut. I want to give you a very brief initial response to a film which plays today at the Sundance London Film and Music Festival and opens in the UK on May the 9th. But first, an annoying autobiographical diversion. Back in the 1980s, I used to play in a skiffle band in Manchester called the Railtown Bottlers, and somehow we ended up playing some gigs with the great Jonathan Richman. And these gigs ended up with a big bash at the Town and Country Club in London, which back then would seem to be pretty spectacular. It may well be, but I'm no longer a gig frequenter. Anyway, on that bill were the Railtown Bottlers, S.C. Rogie, Jonathan Richman, and, most extraordinarily, Frank Sidebottom and his Oh Blimey Big Band. Now, everyone in Manchester at the time knew about Frank Sidebottom. I imagine you may do, but in case you don't, Frank Sidebottom was a character created by the brilliant Chris Seavey, who wore a suit. Upon his head, he wore a giant papier-mâché head. He sang, as if with a clothes peg on his nose, songs about anarchy in Timperley and the like, nearly all of which ended,
"You know it is, it really is, thank you."
On stage during that gig, on keyboards, was the writer John Ronson. I have a suspicion that Mark Radcliffe was on drums, but I'm not entirely sure about that. And in fact, the legend of Frank Sidebottom is pretty fluid. But John Ronson went on to write very movingly about his time with Frank Sidebottom, Chris Seavey. And that story, that true story, has now been turned into a fictional movie directed by Lenny Abramson, who made the brilliant Adam and Paul, called Frank. The film stars Domhnall Gleeson, at times sporting an enormous beard, Maggie Gyllenhaal enthusiastically waving her hands at a theremin, and two-time Kermode Award winner Michael Fassbender, although frankly you wouldn't know it because he's wearing a gigantic Frank Sidebottom head. Now, the movie itself isn't a straightforward biopic of Frank Sidebottom. On the contrary, the central singer in the band is American. It draws very heavily on the legend of Captain Beefheart and the recording of Trout Mask Replica. There's also nods in there toward Daniel Johnson and I suppose arguably The Residents. But it's a really unusual and indescribable film. And although I'll review it in full when it comes out, having just seen the movie, I have one word that I want to give you about Frank. And that word is blimey. Blimey, blimey, oh blimey.
Here it is, my most likable song ever. Coca-Cola, lipstick ring, go dance all night, kiss me, just kiss me, Nefertiti.
This is your most likable song ever?
Yeah.
People will love it.